Okay. I would first like to acknowledge that we're on Blackfoot land and would like to give recognition to the Blackfoot people past, present, and future. Thank you for joining me today. I think it's going to be enlightening. I think if you're a fan of the roast and toast, you'd think the city's going to hell in a handbasket. But I'm going to show you another perspective on what's happening in the city, what's happening with your tax dollars, and what's all been accomplished in 2019. I'm excited to have this opportunity to reflect on the events of the last year and look forward to the milestones ahead. It's been a busy year for the city of Lethbridge. It certainly hasn't been without its challenges, but we're also making some amazing progress that I and other members of council are very proud of. 2019 has been a banner year for our city, and we look forward to all of the exciting things that are yet to come for Lethbridge in the near future. In June of this year, we were very happy to announce at a city council meeting that we had officially become a city of more than 100,000 people strong. We are now the largest city in Alberta after Calgary and Edmonton. This is a significant milestone in our history as a city and something we should all be proud of. Our city continues to grow at a healthy rate. Not every city in Alberta is doing that. In fact, most have been up and down, suffering from the vagaries of the oil price saga. It's exciting to know that we're a city that continues to grow steadily, and more importantly, people and families choose to make Lethbridge their home. We continue to grow at a healthy rate. The west side of our city saw the largest population increase with just over 2%. And we continue to see that area of the city growing faster than the others. When you break it down further, there are neighborhoods with the largest population increases were Copperwood, Gary Station, Black Wolf, Fairmont, the Crossings, and Country Meadows. People want to come to Lethbridge. This milestone is important for us as a city as it has an effect on the types of funding we receive from the federal and provincial governments. Now that may change with both of the provincial and federal budgets that are coming, but historically this funding has been given on a per capita basis. So as our population continues to increase on a regular basis, we get more funding. Projects that have benefited from this funding are things like the ATB Centre, Legacy Park, and to some extent the downtown park and ride that I'm going to be talking about shortly. But 2019 has been a bright spot in the form of opening new facilities and infrastructure projects to help improve the lives of residents. And when we open one every other month, you probably don't notice them, but when we reflect on what's happened in 2019, you're going to see that quite a lot has been done. In the last few months alone, we've officially opened the new Park and Ride Transit Terminal, the Yates Centre after significant renovations. Métis Trail was officially opened earlier in the spring, and we unanimously voted to adopt Oki as the official greeting of the city of Lethbridge. The Lethbridge Regional Park and Ride Transit Terminal is a multi-purpose facility that connects the many public transportation options of Southern Alberta into one safe, convenient location. When I walk down the street and the people outside the terminal say, "Thank you." You know, there are many people in the city who say, "Whoa, what a waste of money." Well, if you don't have a car and you rely on transit, that's not a waste of money, and we meet the needs of all citizens in Lethbridge. This project includes a 3-level parking structure, adding 293 stalls of needed downtown parking. When people are building residential accommodation, repurposing existing buildings, the first thing they've been saying to us is, where do our residents park? And now we have spaces for them in the downtown park and ride. More parking opens up more exciting opportunities to develop and grow our downtown core. So yesterday we opened up the 608 building, and it's located very close to the downtown park and ride. So people coming in for medical services when that building's complete will be able to park conveniently close to that building. The Government of Alberta contributed $2 million towards the project from the Public Transit Infrastructure Fund and $1.366 million from the Gas Fund. The Government of Alberta contributed $11,600,000 towards the Park and Ride project from the Green Transit Incentives Program. And the City of Lethbridge contributed $4,876,000 of the final cost of $19,900,000. So city taxpayers basically got a new transit facility for 25 cents on the dollar. And that's, we're going to find out later on the importance of advocacy and making sure that the City of Lethbridge gets its fair share of provincial and federal dollars. The Yates renovation project has improved performance capabilities, enhanced audience experience, and created a more accessible facility for people who see the shows. The work includes upgraded mechanical and electrical systems, a fire sprinkler system, performance audio-visual systems, acoustic treatments, upgraded finishes like paint, flooring, ceilings, catwalk relocation, dressing room revisions that were badly needed, seating replacements, roof replacements, barrier-free washroom upgrades, and the addition of elevators, signage, and a concrete floor under the auditorium. The most beautiful things are the wood finishes on the wall, the aesthetics of the building. The total renovation budget was $13.9 million, with $4.2 million coming from the City of Lethbridge and an additional $6.2 million from the provincial government and the balance from the federal government. So again, 33 cents on the dollar. A good deal for local taxpayers. The 380,000 square foot facility, that's the next one now, 380,000 square foot facility is the ATB Center, which is owned by the City of Lethbridge and operated by the YMCA, the Phase 2. The total budget for Phase 2 was $109.5 million for Phase 2, and the total for the whole facility is more than $150 million for the entire facility. And ATB Center represents the largest investment in a community facility in Lethbridge's history, providing 12 months of accessible leisure and athletic and exercise training for our residents, improving the lives of citizens of Lethbridge. The Government of Alberta provided funding for both phases of the building, including $18.8 million in Municipal Sustainability Initiative funding, MSI funding, towards Phase 2. ATB Financial entered into a 5-year naming sponsorship agreement with the City of Lethbridge in September 2016, and that carries through 2021, which provides additional revenue to the city. It's a great facility with 2 arenas, 10 curling facilities. We are already holding provincial curling championships in that facility. 2 water slides, a surf simulator, climbing wall, a lap pool, and memberships at the YMCA are about 40% higher than anticipated. So people from across the city are using the facility, which was our goal. The next thing we built was the materials recovery facility, the Murph, which is capable of processing 8 tons of recyclable material per hour. We also provide the cleanest plastic streams in the province, which allows us to have homes for our plastic recyclables. It was developed with enough capacity to accept regional materials from neighboring municipalities as well as businesses. The Murph building and equipment have been designed considering quality requirements and incorporating state-of-the-art equipment to meet current market demands. So many municipalities have trouble getting rid of their plastics. The City of Lethbridge does not. The next community project, which was completed in collaboration with the Heart of City Committee and Reconciliation Lethbridge, in celebration of the United Nations Year of Indigenous Languages, was the adoption of Oki. And you've seen the mobile Oki sign. We have these buttons. We keep running out of these buttons because people keep asking for them. Stores are asking to have the Oki signs in their windows. We entered into a partnership with the University of Lethbridge Agility Program to produce small Oki signs that businesses could have, and we can't keep up with the supply, which is great. We're 3 years into our reconciliation strategy. We're one of the few municipalities in Canada that has a reconciliation strategy, a response to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and this year it really took off. And we're looking forward to greater progress on reconciliation in our community, because we'll all be poorer when there are some in our community and in our region that don't succeed at the same rates as others. So dealing with racism, making sure people have equal access to housing and equal access to employment is key to the future of Lethbridge and key to the future of southwestern Alberta. Next, Legacy Park is a great new amenity that opened in our city in 2018, and we're thrilled to keep growing and expanding this fantastic new space in 2019. Although this year will be mostly a Phase 2 construction year, by 2020 visitors will have access to a new pavilion, picnic shelters, a spray park, and a kids' discovery playground. It's the city's third regional park, along with Henderson in South Lethbridge and Nicholas Sharon in West Lethbridge, and we know that our community values parks and our regional park system. It's something we are all very proud of. Two programs we're especially proud of are 311 and curbside recycling that were implemented this year. Both of these programs took many years of research and planning to come to fruition. We used the best practices, we learned lessons from other municipalities who had already implemented those programs, and we sought feedback from our residents to come up with two programs that ultimately aim to make life easier and better living in Lethbridge. By calling 311, residents can reach the City of Lethbridge Customer Contact Center staffed with trained professional people who can help callers. This system is designed to streamline customer service by providing an easy-to-remember number where residents can get answers to any city questions. Since launching in March, our customer service specialists have fielded more than 63,000 calls to date. That's an average of around 9,000 calls a month, with 97% of those calls being answered and resolved in less than 30 seconds. Our customer service specialists have created more than 13,000 service requests based on those calls from residents from all over the city. Be it questions about utility bills, garbage pickups, or downed tree branches from a sudden September snowstorm, our 311 team are supporting residents. As for our curbside recycling program, of the more than 560,000 kilograms of recycling material collected so far through the curbside recycling program, 90% is of good quality and has made it to recycling markets. It's marketable material. A contamination rate of 10% for a newly implemented program is very positive and unmatched through the province. It speaks to the time and effort residents have put into recycling well and recycling offered. A recent Ipsos Reid survey in the last few months, more than 95% of our residents surveyed said that recycling was important to them, and 83% of residents said they were satisfied with the current program. So this is a fantastic result for our city with a new program being launched. 2019 has been a bright spot in the form of opening new facilities and infrastructure projects to help improve the lives of residents. In the last few months alone, we've officially opened up the new Park and Ride Transit Terminal, the REITs, after their significant renovations, Métis Trail, and we're encouraged by numbers from Economic Development Lethbridge that indicate that we continue to grow and sustain industry. So our industry continues to grow. The Conference Board of Canada's mid-sized city report said we were the fastest growing mid-sized city in Canada. Our city is firing on all cylinders. We've expanded by 5.8% in 2017 and 5.1% in 2018. And I can tell you any of the other mid-sized cities in Alberta are envious of our record. Our strong economic performance locally is partially to having a diversified economy, which makes us a stable place to live, get education, and play in. The report went on to say that Lethbridge is expected to see its gross domestic product expand by 2.6% this year and 2.7% next year. The report highlights job growth of 2,900 in the most recent year, led by gains in construction, personal services, information and cultural industries, and includes tech-based employment. We've experienced growth across a variety of sectors with gains in primary and utility sectors and non-commercial services, which includes education and healthcare leading the way. All of this is to say that Lethbridge is definitely open for business. The track record of strong economic development was a major driver in taking on ownership of the Lethbridge Airport. Today's economy demands next-day service and delivery, and we have local businesses saying that can't happen if everything has to be trucked to Calgary before it gets flown out to other markets. If we want to attract world-class companies, we know we have to be able to fly out of Lethbridge and ship out of Lethbridge. Lethbridge City Council voted to approve funding to immediately upgrade a number of infrastructure items when we took over operations from the county on July 1 last year. Upgrading some of these basic facilities within the terminal will improve the travel experience in the short term, and we know that our airport is continuing to see increased passenger traffic, up another 38% this year, and we want to ensure that we do everything we can to keep that growth moving in a positive direction. We have a lot of potential for air passenger growth out of Lethbridge Airport. So, in addition to, from last year to this year, passenger growth increasing by 80% over 12 months, it's due in part to the addition of services from WestJet and Air Canada utilizing larger aircraft to service their routes, and we're filling those planes. The renovation design list aims to build on that momentum and improve the traveler experience. We've hired a consulting company with world-class knowledge who will be providing us with advice on how to improve the terminal and how to improve the facilities at the airport. And we're looking forward to getting external funding from our provincial and federal governments to support those improvements, because they will support economic growth in the city of Lethbridge and in Alberta. We're committed to investing in the airport as well, because we know it's a major economic driver for our city. The total cost of implementing the immediate upgrades is about $700,000, but the total cost of all the upgrades is about $35 million. So we will need external support from the provincial and federal governments to make sure all of those upgrades take place. Another area that I'm excited to talk about today is the revitalization of our downtown. While I understand and acknowledge that our city is dealing with some complex and serious social issues, there's also a lot to be proud of in the heart of our city. City Council has chosen to make life easier for those looking to invest in our city in a number of ways. With many incentives and grant programs available, we're seeing the benefits of implementing these programs, with businesses choosing to invest in our downtown. One example is the Targeted Redevelopment Program, Redevelopment Incentive Policy, or what we call TRIP. This policy provides an incentive for the construction of major renovations of existing facilities. With a minimum construction value of $1 million of commercial, retail, and mixed-use projects that lead to significant and ongoing enhancements of the assessment base in the downtown. The city benefits from this program in that once the short-term tax increase cancellation period is over, far more taxes are received to the increased value of the property. Just this week, I was at the 608 Health Project, which has taken advantage of this incentive. The city will receive an estimated $88,000 more in annual taxes after the 7-year tax cancellation period. They're investing $4.8 million to renovate the building. This policy encourages redevelopment in the downtown and will lead to greater property values and enhancements that will draw more activity to the downtown core. We still have the Main Street project, which is 50% matching incentive to improve the visual appearance of businesses in the downtown. And one example of a business that took advantage of this program is the Pure Spa on 5th Street, so next to Miro's Restaurant. Upgraded that, and certainly a delightful looking building now. Another is the Heart of the City Housing Incentive Program, or HOCHIP. That's an incentive of $30,000 per door towards the creation of new market-based housing units in the downtown, encouraging people to live in the downtown and having combined use, commercial and residential. So the 601 Plaza residential units took advantage of that incentive, and it's been very successful in attracting buyers and tenants who want to call downtown home. Of course, there's enormous investments being made outside our downtown as well. And certainly last week I was honored to attend the grand opening of Cavendish Farms' new processing facility in Sharing Industrial Park, and proud of the work that went into that for the last 3 years to make that happen. From the very beginning of our negotiation process, City Council and administration worked hard to make sure our city is an attractive place to do business. By choosing to locate in Lethbridge and build in Lethbridge, Cavendish made the largest ever private investment in our city's history, $430 million boost to our local economy, which signals to other companies and industries that Lethbridge is open for business. The construction and operation of this plant aids in retaining and sustaining employment in Lethbridge and the surrounding area, not to mention the peripheral business and opportunities that arise from having a facility of this size in our city. There have been $120 million in upgrades to Richardson's, $85 million upgrade to Frito-Lay, and a $50 million upgrade to the Black Velvet Distillery. And speaking of Black Velvet, American owners recently purchased Black Velvet for $266 million US about a month ago. And was previously owned by an American company, but the new owners are seeing investing in Lethbridge is worthwhile. So we do have some issues in our city. We're not alone in our struggles against substance abuse in our community. The effects of this devastating problem are being felt in the province, country, and we've certainly done more than others to combat the effect of this problem. When it comes to this complex issue, I believe we all want the same things. We want our community to feel safe and clean, a place we are proud to call home. We want those impacted by drug addiction to get the support and care they need. And we want to see action to make this happen. Unfortunately, most of the action is within the realm of provincial responsibility. It's mostly funded by health. But we've been advocating for the same quality and extent of services that cities like Calgary and Edmonton already have. On a per capita basis, we have the greatest problem. We deserve the same services so we can get people out of addiction and into recovery. We've also supported the local businesses. We've developed the Downtown Clean and Safe strategy, and we've been working with the Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown BRZ. We heard their concerns. We provided extra funding to the police to create the Watch program, the Community Peace Officer program, and we provided extra services for security into other operations in the downtown. So those were the increases that were included in our last budget. We still were able to have the lowest budget increase in about 20 years, about 1.94% increase in the mill rate. And so certainly we want to look at ways to reduce that going into the future. What you'll be hearing about in the near future is the reviews. So half the city departments will be reviewed. The reports will be due out before the end of November, and then next year we'll be reviewing the other half, and we'll be looking for considerable savings to save taxpayers' money and create efficiencies in the city of Lethbridge. We'll continue to review housing needs. One of our most recent accomplishments is the production and the adoption of our municipal housing strategy. Many of our social issues start with housing. It's housing affordability and housing availability. If people have housing, we can help them with their social issues. And if they have supported housing, we can make sure that they get the attention they need. When they're basically migrants, they're very hard to track down, very hard to put into, to transfer into treatment and recovery services. And we need to make sure that we provide housing and provide the supports for those that need it. We need to have an integrated approach to helping people with their housing and their social needs. So our municipal housing strategy has been approved for action as of October the 7th, and you can see that we'll be moving forward with that to try and make sure that we're addressing housing needs first and foremost. So with that, we are moving forward. I see I've got about 2 minutes left to quickly sum up. I think I've covered most of the issues, and let's see if there's anything that I have missed. I'll certainly look forward to your questions. I think at this time I'm going to say we are focused on our strategic plan. I'd like to thank my council members. We do have a plan that is resulting in a lot of these accomplishments. Our city manager has been tremendous in his support for city council and support of our strategic plan, and has been someone who demands results. Certainly much of the credit for getting things done to date goes to our new city manager, Bram Strain. And I'd like to say thank you to all of you for taking time out of your day to attend this session and become an informed member of our community. I would like to leave you today with a message about the power of positivity, because quite often we drop into that roast and toast mentality. And I think there are so many. When I hosted 21 other mayors here, and we took them on a tour of the city and showed them all the things that were happening, when they saw her in our industrial park, they were blown away. When they saw the new science building at the university, they were blown away. When they saw the ATB Center, they said, how much did that cost? I said, $155 million. They said, wow, Edmonton's building one is $300 million. And it's, we're getting good value, we're managing our projects, and we're providing services and solutions to the city of Lethbridge. And some of our issues, yep, they're complicated. We're not going to have solutions tomorrow. But if we get provincial funding tomorrow for some of our basic needs, we'll have those services up and running within 1.5 years or 2 years. So thank you for your time today. I look forward to your questions. Thank you.